Hey, Teddy K here for Best Buy Plugin, and in this video review we take a look at the Nikon Z7, Nikon's first attempt at a full-frame mirrorless camera. And while it's not a DSLR, it can shoot like one. Nikon has gone mirrorless before, but the Z6 and Z7 are the first time they've gone full frame. So these cameras, now I've only tested the Z7, but there are a lot of similarities between them. This camera shows a lot of promise, and I could probably go on for like 20 or 30 minutes talking about it, but I don't have that much time, so I'm going to go over the main key points. Not surprisingly, the Z7 is lighter and smaller than a typical Nikon DSLR, and there is a trade-off that comes with that because there's a new lens mount. So the Zen Mount system, which is different from the F mount, of course, that Nikon's been using for decades, means that you can't necessarily use F mount lenses onto the Z7. Well, you can, but you need an adapter. So if you get the FTZ adapter, you can then use those extra lenses. And we're talking about like 90 lenses here. There's quite a few. Not all of them are going to have the autofocus and auto exposure. Many of them will. So some of those features that you would normally get when using those lenses, you will still get when shooting with this. That being said, there are three particular Zen Mount lenses that come with the camera, or that work with the camera, I should say. The one I used was the kit lens 28 to 70 millimeter. It functioned pretty well. For a kit lens, I gotta be honest, it was pretty good, but it made me wonder how much better could I get if I had better glass? I don't know because I didn't get to try better glass with it, but I can say that the Z7 is more than capable of shooting really, really good photos. The image stabilization in the body is one of those things that I just like because I don't have to worry about whether or not a lens is going to have it. And I think that also plays a role if you're using an older F-mount lens onto the camera. You're going to benefit from that because it's just in the body. So there's that. And then on top of that, I know some people kind of complain about the control system. I kind of like it, actually. I felt like, you know, when I was holding the camera that I was able to just change things, and especially adjusting focus on the fly and things like that, ISO, those sorts of things. There is the LCD on the back is touchscreen, so if you want to focus using that, you can even actually snap a photo using that too by tapping. Or you want to make some changes in the menu, you can do all that on the screen too. You don't necessarily have to do it through the electronic viewfinder or pressing all the buttons that are in the back. Shooting modes are somewhat limited, but not really because, well, the idea is for you to create your own. So you have a few different settings, a few different banks that you can use on the rotary dial there to create your own settings as presets so you can get to them. One thing I do like about that is that you can effectively just create one for, like, let's say you're sharing the camera and the person you're sharing with doesn't really know all the settings. You can create very basic ones that will be good for them to use without messing up any of your own. Image quality is superb. I really, really liked the quality that I got from these images. And of course, you know, some of them got some of the Lightroom treatment to bring out a little bit more out of them. But the base of what I had to work with was excellent as it was. ISO levels, even at higher, I would say probably 2500, you might be able to squeeze a little bit extra beyond that, but at 2500 there was very, very little noise, even in low light shots. Also, the in-body stabilization that I mentioned earlier, I could shoot at 1/15 of a second shutter speed, handheld, and not get a blurry shot. I had to be steady, don't get me wrong, but still, the fact that I could shoot like that handheld was very, very welcome as well. So this is what I mean, like, you know, regardless of what you're shooting and how you're shooting, there is flexibility that the camera affords you. And you'd expect that, I think, from a camera of this price and of this quality. But the fact that I could do it even with a kit lens, I think, was also something worth noting. Video is, you know, and this applies actually to still photos too, so just hear me out here. So video is one of those things where if you're tracking a fast-moving subject, you can do it, but unfortunately the camera needs to be better at it. It loses the subject sometimes, it gets confused, it thinks it's following something else. It's just not good enough for a camera of this caliber. It just simply isn't. And I think that's something, I'm hoping that's something Nikon can fix with a firmware update. I don't know. As it stands right now, it was something I did notice that was a bit of an issue and something that needs to be fixed right away if Nikon is going to be serious about doing video with a camera like this. Now with still shots, you still get kind of the same situation. Interestingly, because the Z6 has a smaller sensor, the pixels are larger, so low light photography is probably going to be a little bit better on that, and you'll get a faster burst shooting there as well. Even so, burst shooting is better on some other cameras. It's not bad. Like, it depends really how many shots you want to get per second. I was able to get about 6 per second without any real buffering or any problems. You might be able to get more, just I guess depends on the speed of the card you're using. I was not using a super fast card, but I was using one that was fast enough. So it really depends on what kind of equipment you're going with. So I want to finish off just by noting that if you have to really be into photography or video in order to consider this camera. If you're looking to take some, you want a camera for a vacation and you're thinking, hey, I'll spend some more money and I'll get an even better camera, I'll get great shots. Yeah, that may be true, but if you're not using the camera much beyond that or outside of that, don't do it. This camera is for pros and serious amateurs or enthusiasts, people who want to take photos, not just when they're on vacation or special occasions, but almost anywhere at any time. The Z7 gives you everything that you need to be able to do that and to do it well. You learn, just learn the ropes, learn how the features work, and you will be a better photographer for it. I mean, obviously there's some things that the camera can't teach you alone, but you get what I'm saying. So I just want to stress that because this is a big purchase and new lenses are coming in 2019 and then even into 2020. Those lenses are not going to be cheap either. So this is a commitment that you'll be making. And so if you're into photography in a big way, you will like what the Z7 can offer you. Video, not as much. So there's some work that needs to be done there. But for still shots, Nikon did a great job as a debut here for a full-frame mirrorless camera. And that's my quick review of the Nikon Z7 for Best Buy Plugin. I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.